Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with more F1 2021 IRL Formula 1 content. Obviously if you guys missed out on the F1 fantasy video that we did a couple of days ago, I would definitely recommend going back and checking that out, obviously for the start of our discussions as we get ready for the F1 2021 season, as well as the fact, obviously if you guys are interested in F1 fantasy, we are going to be trying to push the league a whole lot more over the course of the season. There will be spoilers to our team, if you're not too worried about that. Then don't worry about it. But yeah, there we go. We have got our new F1 Fantasy League set up. Already 49 of you involved as well. So I want to try and get that well over 100. So obviously, if you guys are interested, the league code is on your screens right there. And then, of course, obviously, there will be links down in the description below on the channel as well, obviously, if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, getting ready, though, for the F1 2021 season. Winter testing, of course, is now all done and dusted. And so today, I thought we'd jump in and do our F1 livery tier list video. You know, I sort of decided I wanted to wait. It's always been, obviously, over recent years in Formula 1. Sometimes the digital renders come out and a car looks insane. You put it on the track and it looks a bit awful. Sometimes it works the other way around as well. There's definitely a few examples ready for F1 2021. So hence why I decided to wait so, you know, we can mainly look at how the cars are going to look in real life, but obviously as well having a bit of a look as to what they looked like in the digital renders as well, ready for the F1 2021 season. For the very few of you that aren't aware of how an F1 tier list works, obviously you've got the best cars, bangers as I've dubbed them in this video today, obviously at the top of your picture. So obviously they're the best Formula 1 cars, that, you know, the best looking cars of the year and everything like that. And then of course you go through great, good, okay, and then trash at the bottom of your roster there. So obviously today we're going to be going through all 10 teams. If you are new around here as well, I'm going to be trying to push it a whole lot more. Make sure you get yourself subscribed as well for more IRL F1 2021 content. Just over a week now before the season kicks off. In fact, when this video is going live, free practice 1 should have already gone ahead, actually. It should have been Friday morning in Bahrain, and obviously this video is going live. So a week even, I should say, from today. I'm getting very excited for the first race weekend of the season. You know, it's been a while. I mean, we've had 2 Bahrain Grand Prix in the last 3 races, but I'm still looking forward to F1 coming back once again there, despite, yeah, a much shorter winter break than we're often used to. But yeah, let's dive in then to our first team of the day. Of course, we're just going to go through last year's championship order. Of course, that is Mercedes then. And this one, I think, for a lot of people was quite controversial, obviously heading into the new season. Personally, you know, I'm a big fan of this thing. It doesn't quite look as great as last year's car. You know, I think that whole sort of shock factor of, you know, we saw Mercedes obviously bring this standard Silver Arrow car to winter testing, obviously then with everything going on with COVID. That then just got completely scrapped. Obviously the new launch with Ineos as well, and obviously the black car, obviously with trying to raise the issue of BLN as well. Obviously very important, I'm sure, to a lot of people inside the Mercedes family, most notably Lewis Hamilton. And this thing, yeah, last year's car looked absolutely insane. The big changes ready for this year's car, of course, is the sticker bomb AMG logos at the back of it. A lot of people, it has been quite polarising, I've noticed, for a lot of people in the Formula 1 world. I agree it doesn't look quite as great as obviously all the Silver Arrows, even, I should say. But I don't think it looks as bad as a lot of people are making out. Obviously, you've still got the red accents on the front ring, you can see just over the airbox, and then, of course, on the rear wing as well, which I think does add a really nice little touch to the Mercedes car as well. And I think, yeah, people that were hoping, obviously, it was the same as last year's car, understandably a little bit gutted, but let's be fair, they haven't exactly botched the livery entirely, in my personal opinion now. And yeah, the AMG sticker bomb, an interesting choice, but I think it's one that I think generally once we got into winter testing as well, I think a lot more people warmed to. Now, obviously, heading back over to our tier list then, I don't think it quite constitutes a banger livery. I think last year's car did. There is generally, obviously, with Formula 1 fans as well, that element of if the paint scheme hasn't or a livery hasn't changed over the last couple of years, then generally it starts to slip more and more down people's order as you just get used to the car. So I think we're going to start and put the Mercedes in the great tier. Not quite, again, yeah, like I said, the banger livery that we saw last year, but still not a bad paint scheme. Nonetheless then for the 2021 Mercedes. Let's move on then to our second team. Of course, Red Bull, once again, the runners-up at the end of the 2020 season there. And, well, really, it's a Red Bull at the end. There's not a whole lot you can say about it. I mean, really, the only sort of noticeable differences, I guess, are the fact, obviously, we've got Claro sponsors now. Or Claro, I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, with Sergio Perez joining the team. But it's the same Red Bull we've had since pretty much 2005. I mean, it's pretty much gone completely unchanged since, what, 2017? Obviously, when we got the new shaped Formula 1 cars in as well. You just can't say a lot about him at this point. I mean, it's good branding for Red Bull. It's quite clearly a Red Bull, but I've never been a particularly big fan of the paint scheme anyway. I've never been a particularly big fan of sort of the dark blue on the car. So for me, unfortunately, I'm gonna have, it's not a trash livery. I think trash would be a little bit unfair on Red Bull, but it can't deserve to be a whole lot higher than that, in my personal opinion. So we're gonna put it in okay. Obviously, once we put all the liveries through, we'll have a bit of a quick look round and obviously change some of the order if we feel necessary as well. Then moving on though to our third place team then at the end of last year, of course, was McLaren, who ended at top of the midfield. And once again, you know, you guys that have been around this channel for a long time know I'm a big fan of orange. You know, it's still my favourite colour at the end of the day. You know, when McLaren sort of announced they were bringing back the orange livery, I think back in 2017, I absolutely loved that paint scheme on the car. It was, I think, one of the main reasons why back on F1 2017, I actually picked McLaren to do our career mode with as well. And then obviously when they sort of went to this orange and blue scheme, there was so much potential with it. And it just doesn't feel like McLaren have utilised it particularly well. You know, there just seems like there's so much more they could do with it. I know, obviously, you see some of the renders on Twitter, you know, sort of the fan-made pictures of the cars and everything like that. And McLaren just don't seem to encapsulate that. There's just a whole lot of just sort of standard, it feels like just plain carbon fibre on the car as well. Like, I feel like they could do a whole lot more with this sort of area. Maybe put a little bit more sort of orange or blue or even something else on there to try and make it a little bit more exciting as well. And again, it doesn't look like a bad livery. It doesn't look too old school. I think this is sort of the thing. Obviously, with these, obviously, Formula 1 cars, you know, where they're very, very wide, incredibly fast as well. I think generally they've suited sort of more modern liveries, you know, sort of all these lines everywhere and everything like that. You know, you can see it towards the back of the car, obviously, with the rainbow on there as well. But it just still feels like McLaren are missing something with these paint schemes. Now, where does it put us in the grand scheme of things? It's not as good as the Merc. It's not as bad as the Red Bull, in my eyes. We'll put it in good for now then. So already you can see this taking some good shape at the start of this video then. Heading though into team number 4, and our first team with a major paint scheme change, of course, is Aston Martin. Now, obviously, when Aston Martin announced they were coming back to Formula 1, I thought, great, we're going to get some proper British racing green back on the grid. Then we heard that BWT was still going to be sponsoring the team, and I thought, there's going to be no way in hell they're going to be able to mix green and pink to make a good-looking Formula 1 car. And somehow, fair play to Aston Martin, they have managed it at the end of the day. I mean, it's very subtle amounts of pink on the 2021 car. But again, it's unfortunately, the pink isn't the issue, actually. It's more the green. It just isn't dark enough. It's not proper British racing green. And I think that's what I've really been a bit disappointed with at the start, obviously seeing this car in winter testing. Now, if you felt it was just a little bit darker, it could have looked even better. But that being said, it is still a very good looking car. It does look better in the on-track pictures. Obviously, for this one, we're just using the digital renders as sort of placeholders for this video. But it does look better in real life than obviously in these renders. But I feel like there was just, if it had just been a bit darker British racing green, perhaps it could have worked better. Maybe it would have clashed with the pink a little bit more nonetheless. And I think, to be honest, I probably am not giving this car fair credit as well. You know, it does look incredibly good as well then. So where does it fit on our rankings? I'm going to put it, I think it's better than McLaren. I'm going to put it behind the Mercedes, currently in second place for on the sort of current tier list there. I wonder, maybe, just maybe, it could jump Mercedes, but we'll wait and see as to how we feel. Team 5 though, it is Alpine. This one's incredible. I just love this thing. You know, I never thought I'd be such a fan of seeing the French flag on a Formula 1 car. But Alpine, fair play. I think Renault sort of knew when they were changing the livery over to this, they knew they had to try and make some big drastic design change, and they needed something that absolutely popped. And the blue on this thing, yeah, is absolutely stunning. Honestly, I hope this thing does quite well, just for the fact I want to see it on my screens. I'm not an Alonso or an Ocon fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to see it do well. I just want to see it on my TV screen, I'll be honest, at the end of the day. It just looks brilliant. You know, you got the little French flags on the front wing as well, which I think is a really nice addition. And again, yeah, it looks good. I like it. I don't know whether I should like it. I almost feel a bit wrong for liking it, but it is an absolutely brilliant livery. It looks even better fully from side on as well, I think, obviously, where you've got the Alpine logos at the back of the car as well. And I mean, I loved the traditional Alpine, you know, the back in the 1950s and 60s, the A110S even I should say. That thing in that blue as well was absolutely incredible. This isn't quite the same blue, but it's close enough that I think, honestly, this is going in banger tier. I absolutely love this thing. And I'm just going to say it now, straight up. It's my favourite livery for F1 2021. Just simple as. Nothing is going to beat it. Ready for the season there. Unless, of course, the team goes with an incredible refresh, which I would love to see from absolutely anyone then. Moving on, though, to Team 6. We go from the best livery on the grid to arguably the worst. Ferrari, you had an awful 2020, and this just hasn't helped one bit. Now, obviously, the main thing that I think everyone is drawn to with this is what on earth is that green mission winnow sticker on the back of it? What was wrong with black or white? That, I mean, again, I've seen digital renders online of people that, you know, even with just these little logos, put that on the back of the car, but no. They went with green for whatever reason. Now, again, we won't be seeing it in a lot of tracks this year, which I think for some people is justified that it looks alright. Not for me. No, it just doesn't look good. That green is the glaring issue, and I think, to be honest, it's kind of actually taken away from another quite bad one in my eyes, and that's the fact the back of the car looks like it's pooed itself, because they've gone with a weird little burgundy hint at the back of the car for whatever reason. I think, don't get me wrong, the burgundy at Mugello last year looked really cool. I was a big fan of it. But why didn't they just make the whole car burgundy, or just go with normal Scarlet Ferrari colours as well? Why have they put green on it? Why have they done that? I don't want to look at this thing much more than I have to. Honestly, it's going in trash for me. I know Ferrari fans are going to absolutely beat me up in the comments down below, but that's the truth at the end of the day. From my personal perspective, it is not a good-looking car ready for the new season. And next up, then, is another team that had so much potential. AlphaTauri's 2020 car was an absolute masterpiece. It looked incredible. And this year, they've both literally and metaphorically, done the opposite. Why on earth they flipped the paint scheme over, it was just beyond me. Because the problem is, obviously, with the white at the bottom of the car, obviously with the dark blue on top, it makes it look really high up, which is not a good aesthetic for a Formula 1 car. Last year's car with it the other way around looks so great, and I just don't know why they ruined it. I mean, the back of the car looks good, still sort of behind the driver. It is still a good-looking livery, and I think it does give them a little bit of credit back at the end of the day. But why, AlphaTauri? Why did you swap the colours over and ruin it for me? It was gutting to see that come through. Obviously, when AlphaTauri did announce their car a few weeks ago. That being said, it's not awful still, but it just is. It's what could have been at the end of the day with this car. Now, where do we rank it is the difficult question. I think it's better than the Red Bull, but not as good as the McLaren, in all honesty. So it could either go here. I'm going to put it in okay for now. We might move it up to the bottom of good at the end of the video there. But yeah, it's going in okay for now then. So heading on, though, to our back marker 3 teams then. First up is Haas. The Americans have slept with the Russians. Well, I mean, let's be fair, we all know why this has been done. Let's not beat around the bush. I know Gunther Steiner said that it had already been decided. No one's buying it, Gunther. I won't lie. Yeah, it's a lot of Russian flags. I mean, they're the same colours as the French flag, but they've botched it completely. The numbers at the back end of the car, I don't think get enough hate as well. They look awful. It looks like, genuinely, when I saw that, I thought, is this just Herbie from the VW Beetle from the movies? It just is not a good scheme in any. I genuinely reckon I could have done a better job, and I am the worst artist in the world. Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's much good to say about it on the whole. I guess the front wing looks okay. I guess it's kind of clever, with obviously the 3 different lines on each part of the wing, but it's down there with Ferrari in my eyes. Straight up, I'm just not a fan of this thing. I think, but is it worse than Ferrari? I think genuinely it's worse than the Ferrari in my eyes, or it's pretty much on par. We'll put them as worse because obviously Mazepin. That's the logic for this one. We rate Leclerc, we rate Schumacher, we rate Sainz, we don't rate Mazepin, so it's going behind Ferrari in the trash tier then. Moving on though, team number 9. We've had 3 bad ones in a row. Oh, the AlphaTauri was respectable. Now we go back to someone that knows how to design a car. Alfa Romeo, they always make beautiful looking cars on the road. No change in their F1 liveries as well. Now, it's not quite... I feel like they missed something with this thing. Again, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's certainly not a bad livery as well at the end of the day coming out from Alfa Romeo this year. You know, it was, I think, the first one to be announced. And yeah, it's always, you know, when they sort of came up with this new radical idea for the front wing, I think it really did help them look, sort of stand out a bit more. And really sort of inspired this red and white livery for a lot of people. I feel like looking at it, it could have done with a little bit more red, but saying that I'm not too sure where. Again, you need to speak to a graphic designer, not me, because again, this is probably, you know, I can say whether something looks good or bad, but I can't really sort of critique how they could improve it. So, not the best reviewer in the world. But again, though, the Alfa Romeo, as, you know, looked good over the last couple of years. I mean, it looked god-awful with the blue and gold looking back as well, obviously, when they were still Sauber. But this car looks a whole lot better. I'd say on par with the last couple of years' cars. So, for me, I'm going to put it in good ahead of McLaren. And pretty much on par with McLaren, but I'm going to put it ahead of McLaren ready for this. Then we move on to our final team, of course, and that is Williams. And I think, like a lot of people, I saw this picture and thought, why? Why have they done this? And then I've seen more and more of it, and I've slowly fallen in love with it. I don't know whether I should be disappointed with myself or not, but I have, yeah, really, really fallen in love with this car, of sort of watching it in winter testing. To be honest, I just want the Martini paint scheme back on the Williams. It looks so good. I'm a sucker. I mean, it was one of the proper old school liveries that still look great on the current regulation shaped cars as well. But yeah, this paint scheme is growing on me very, very quickly. I mean, they went with something drastically different. Obviously, they need desperately to get sponsors back on the car as well. But I think, yeah, just the little hints of yellow, obviously, the tribute to the FW14B, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, from 1992. Really, again, it doesn't look great in the pictures, but you see it on the track, and I have just fallen in love with this thing over the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, we're a fan. I approve Williams. It's grown on me. Hopefully it'll actually be somewhere competitive this year. I want to see, you know, battling for points if possible. Optimistic, I'll admit, but I do still really want to see Williams fighting back where they belong, at least for points. I'm not expecting wins just yet. Give them a few more years before that becomes a reality. But yeah, I want to see Williams back, and if this is the paint scheme they do it with, I won't be complaining all too much then. So trying to find a place for it though in our ranks. I think I'm going to put it second. I reckon it's slightly better than the Mercedes at the end of the day there. So there we go then. Is there any other changes? Alpine definitely stays top. I think Williams deserves that P2. The Merc and the Aston, I'm going to say, are pretty much even, but we're going to leave Merc just in front, obviously because I'm still a fan of the black car as well. The Alfa Romeo and the McLaren, again, pretty much on the same tier. Very, very different cars, but yeah, pretty much I'm going to leave them on the same tier. The same can be said for AlphaTauri and Red Bull there, and of course Ferrari and Haas at the bottom of your order there as well. I know a lot of people, in fact, you know what, actually, we'll move the Haas up into okay, just so I'd probably get a little bit less hate from you guys as well. But there we go then. That is our F1 2021 livery tier list video all done and dusted. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming to the channel over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, very, very soon at the start of next week, Jamie183 and I are going to be making a video sort of discussing our 2021 prediction videos, obviously, predictions even, I should say, ready for the new season. We're going to be trying to make more IRL Formula 1 content. So obviously, if this has been a video that you have gone on to enjoy, make sure you do get yourself subscribed, leave a like on the video as well. We're trying to hit 15,000 subscribers at the moment, so if you can help us get one step closer to that, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated as well. But yeah, we will be back very, very soon. I've got a lot of content, like I said, planned. We've got hopefully a new series starting before the new season as well, obviously, as well as IRL Formula 1 content. You know, we're balancing it out between the game and real life at the moment, but I'm so excited for the new season to be kicking off in just a few days' time. But yeah, thank you all, like I said, so much for watching. Join the F1 Fantasy League as well, and yeah, we will be back very, very soon with a brand new video. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.